All things must die, everything comes and goes. And even in the Game of Thrones or the Song of Ice and Fire, they say Valar Morghulis, or all men must die. But here we are talking about DC Comics, which has been dying for over a year. And if somebody tells you that the cough world situation is the cause of it, no. DC Comics had been dying, long before all this craziness broke out last year, and the cause was the fact that the huge publishers such as DC Comics, Marvel Comics, and entertainment in general, they have put good storytelling and focusing on good stories and good craft aside, and start focusing on inclusion, representation, diversity, and various agendas, socio-political agendas, which of course led to the decline of the quality of the product, both comic books and television, and led to lower sales, which meant that a lot of people had to be let go. Now, DC Comics itself, as the publisher, was a part of, I believe, Warner Brothers, and this particular company was bought by AT&T, and this huge conglomerate, saw that DC Comics is making less and less money and is not advantageous for them anymore to keep it. And that's why they decided to slowly dissolve the DC Comics publishing branch. First, there was a wave of laying people off, and then there was the second wave and the third wave, and it ended up by a lot of executives being fired, a lot of artists and writers being fired. Basically, almost all DC Comics was fired. The DC Collectibles branch, or the DC Direct, which was focusing on making collectibles and memorabilia, that was cancelled altogether. They are not existing anymore, and action figures and collectibles have to be made by other companies such as McFarlane Toys. Now, recently, a lot of all-star writers and artists left DC Comics because they are just not paid high enough or good enough, which is quite understandable. If you look at writers such as Jeff Johns or artists such as Jason Fabok, who I would say are the all-star and the best at DC, formerly at DC Comics this time, and Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, all these people, they are focusing now on creating comic books elsewhere, either self-publishing comic books or for other companies, publishers such as Image Comics. And now, yet another artist leaves, and the cause of this is that, a highly anticipated comic book, or graphic novel rather, is being cancelled. The artist Francis Manapul no longer is under contract of DC Comics, and that means that they have to cancel the unfortunate, or yet another title of the unfortunate Aquaman, who really is an unlucky superhero. Look at what's happening with that bloody actress, the former wife of Johnny Depp, and what she did. And she is Mera in the Aquaman movie. Now, Jason Momoa himself, the actor who portrayed Aquaman in the blockbuster movie, he is starting to be crazy and political on the internet as well. And now they are cancelling Aquaman Earth 1. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Earth 1 series of graphic novels is a series of comic books that are focusing on the most well-known superheroes of DC Comics, and they are taking them and writing them and creating them from a different point of view, let's say. It's an alternative take. Earth 1 is one of the alternative realities of DC Comics, is not a part of the main continuity. So let's say we've got Batman Earth 1, which I think was written by Jeff Johns. And, am I wrong? Am I right? I think so. And we see Batman there in a more realistic way, where we look at the very beginnings of Batman, where he wasn't this almighty man that was trained in all martial arts in the world and was a brilliant detective and chemist and mathematician. and all the things that you can possibly imagine, but actually makes very many mistakes, and even sometimes even very awkward mistakes, such as stepping on evidence at a crime scene. And Commissioner Gordon tells him, "You're not a very good detective, are you?" Which is the joke, because Batman is, among other names, known as the world's best detective. Now, everybody was looking forward to Aquaman, because Aquaman isn't really getting much love from DC Comics, and has been indeed mocked by fans and by creators for a long time, until Jeff Johns started writing him and wrote an entire series that was praised both by critics and by fans. And then, he got the movie with Jason Momoa, and then he really became a bit more respected superhero. But unfortunately, now Aquaman is no longer. The ongoing main series was cancelled that was about Aquaman, and now, after the cancellation of the main Aquaman series, we are experiencing cancelling of this one and done graphic novel that a lot of people were looking forward to. This is a depiction of the artwork that would be in the comic book, and as much as I am not really an extremely huge fan of Francis Manapul, the artist that was supposed to draw it, I do love this. Look at that. Aquaman looks like a heroic superhero, a buffed man with a beard and long hair. He almost looks like an ancient pagan god there. At the back, we can see Mera with distinctive female features, which is not very common in contemporary comic books, where more and more cases of the so-called approved body type is present, which is women are either, they don't have any distinctive female features at all, they don't have huge breasts or hips, or they are morbidly obese, which I don't know what's worse, really. And Superman, he looks freaking bad ass. Look at that Superman in a leather jacket, in a leather biker jacket, and leather trousers with the Superman logo underneath it. And Batman, look at Batman hair. It looks like he is in an armor on a huge robotic chair or something. This looks freaking fantastic. And quite honestly, as much as I don't really read many contemporary comic book titles, I would buy and read that, because just based on this one picture, it looks just badass, right? But yeah, unfortunately, DC Comics is dying, and DC Comics will be no more very soon, and we can only hope that that collected editions of older, good old comic books will be published in one form or another in the future, because after all, nobody really cares about new comics. Like, there is like a one or two good comic books a year published by DC Comics right now. This could have been one of them, but no. But just in case, I would suggest, if you are a DC Comics fan, buy all your favorite titles, all your favorite books in either collected editions or single comic book issues, in whatever way you can, because it's highly probable and possible that they will be just not available in the future. They might be publishing the best known comic books, the most popular comic books, like Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns or Batman Year One. They might be publishing other all-star titles such as Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, or some of the more known Superman titles, or The Preacher, Hellblazer, formerly from the Vertigo line. But the more niche comic books like Lobo or things like Blackest Night, I mean, I wouldn't really count on that, so I would buy as much as you can right now before you can't buy it anymore. And of course, Watchmen and V for Vendetta, these things I think will be published in one way or another forever, but otherwise, I'm not really that sure. So yeah, as I said, things come and go. It's not really sad news, it's just a fact. It's just the way the world works. It's just the way the world has always worked. Nothing lasts forever, and everything must die. And DC Comics has had an awesome life and history. Over 85 years old of publishing comic books every month, every week. And there have been thousands and hundreds of thousands of great, or pages of great comic books written and drawn by DC Comics. And yeah, well, there is a huge backlog that we can enjoy and read. And I always say that there are too many comic books to read in one lifetime. So the fact that DC Comics is dying and that Aquaman isn't going to be published anymore isn't, that disastrous. So yeah, what do you think, my friends? Do you agree with my opinion, or does your opinion differ in any way? Let me know in the comments down below. I am only glad to engage in an intelligent and educated discussion, and I do respond to every comment because I do enjoy interacting with fellow literature and comic books aficionados, and because YouTube is not very fond of, well, free speech oriented YouTubers such as I am. Please help me beat the algorithm and like this video if you liked it, or dislike this video if you didn't like it, and subscribe to this unimportant channel of an unimportant geek talking about unimportant things if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell so you can get notifications for many more videos to come, and that will be really all, my friends. See you soon, keep reading good stuff, and bye.